The road goes up from our house, through the wooded slopes to the mountains, from the tops of which open breathtaking wide space. In a conditional place, we meet with the director of the Orenburg Reserve, Rafila Tilgatnova Bakirova. In the autumn, she was very worried that she could not show us exactly this remote part of the Shaytan-Tau Reserve. And we were told that we would definitely return here in the spring, when everything would be in bloom. What beauty, Rafil Telgatovna. So beautiful here. Such beautiful views are opening here. Rafil, is this really the youngest reserve in our country, right?
Yes, this is the last of the created reserves in a federal system of specially protected natural areas. It was created in October 2014.
And here I have a question like this. Shaytantau, yes, Devil's Mountain. It has some kind of bad reputation.
Well, someone called it Devil's Mountain, someone Mount of Devil. In fact, it has quite a lot of interpretations in translation from the Bashkir, from the Tatar language. We can say that Shaytantau sounds so. The location is unique enough because, on the one hand, it is dangerous, there are often lightning discharges, fires occur very often. You see?
Yeah.
We see a lot of burning trees on the horizon. That's literally behind my back.
Yes, in consciousness. That just appears in the Philistine mind. Even right? The Caucasus is about mountains. I don't know. Tver province is about forests. Orenburg is about steppes. And here, suddenly the forests, flowers, everything is buried in these flowering carpets. I did not even expect this for myself.
It's good in contrast, indeed, in Orenburg. For Orenburg region, the place is unique. It is unique with its landscape. It is unique to its vegetation, the animal world. You saw how much we traveled through the territory of the Orenburg region. These are steppes all around. And suddenly, we call in, as we say, Orenburg, Switzerland. The mountains, the forests look quite unexpectedly, and they're so thick. You saw yourself.
And the alpine meadows.
And the alpine meadows.
Yes, the place here is really unusual. According to the scorched trees, fires happen here constantly. And not only because of people, lightning too. There are such anomalous places where the lightning hits very often for some reason. And it's not entirely clear why it happens like this. That is why apparently they call it devils. And now try to put yourself in the place of a lonely traveler who was turned out in these parts several hundred years ago and doesn't know anything about heaven's electricity. And there are a lot of hungry animals around. Wolves, bears, dashing people robbing on the paths. Not the most pleasant routes. Look, it's difficult to drive here even on a quad runner or a car. It's not really quite the usual landscape around. Ominous silence. Birds don't sing, and the bare trunks of birches stand like gnawed bones. The forest is curved. It looks like it's dancing. And maybe it's true that there are some anomalies on this Devil's Mountain. Look, all the trees are twisted. Could it be radiation or something? Further on, the landscape changed radically. Again, hilly open spaces and lovely glades on flowering slopes. More and more often, European pasque flowers began to appear on the road. Down there, below in the steppes, they didn't grow at all. These lovely bright blue flowers, as if covered with a delicate fluff, are called pasque flower or rock lily. Every day, climbing the mountains, we saw many pasque flowers everywhere. And really, we felt calmer in the midst of their gentle, inclined to the ground heads, twisted in the finest silver fuzz. Our way lies up to the very heart of Shaytantau, to the place from where all the reserve land is visible, spread before your eyes. The forest is getting much lower, and the tree body curl noticeably. Well, all the same, strong winds and cold fog make them completely unlike the slender trees of the plains. Well, in general, Shaytantau is not such a devilish place. It is beautiful around. My soul sings about such majestic beauty. Until dawn, you could sit in the tent for 2 hours to feed the mosquitoes. Although in the morning, of course, there will be fewer of them. Then, from the top of the mountain, it is very convenient to observe the nests of thrushes down in the trees. Well, and if you're lucky, you'll see black grouses. The tread is already coming to an end, but some belated gentlemen can fly here, of course. Only a black grouse can mate in such cold. I would not be able to. Oh, Alexei, shall we have some tea? With herbs from the mountain. Ah, here you go. Here. Ah, this is real tea. Look. Fieldfare are already sitting on their eggs. They are friendly guys. They settle next to each other, feed together. Together they drive away enemies. Look, there are chicks in one nest already. By the way, fieldfare are close relations with nightingales, redstarts. Well, and other insectivorous birds, as the shape of their beak indicates this. Do you see how long and thin it is? Well, the black grouses appear. We're lucky. From our hiding spot, you can even see the bright red lines of the male. From time to time, one or the other males flies in, sat down on trees, well, and then even descended to the ground, and after a short time they left, vexed by the inattention of ungrateful listeners. Belated mating was interrupted by a sudden thunderstorm. The clouds flew in from nowhere, rumbled, and the weather became completely hopeless, spoiled literally in a matter of minutes. It's really some kind of mysticism. 10 minutes ago, the sun was shining. Here, behind my back, the sky is blue, and suddenly thunderclouds. That's why Shaytantau. Yes, down there in the steppe, things like this do not happen. And suddenly, after another watering of the earth from heaven, everything around was painted in some kind of unnaturally golden light. It came from nowhere, because the sun was still hiding in the clouds. The impression was created that this light was poured out by some unusually bright rainbow, flashing down below the gentle slopes of the Shaytantau foothills. And a rainbow, look, it is so clear, bright. According to an ancient local belief, a rainbow always indicates the place where some great treasures are hidden at its end. Go! I noticed this place. Let's go! Well, of course, we are far from being so naive to go search for some treasure that the old bandits buried in the old days. But we pointed out the place on the map and immediately went to search for it. Although, it turned out that to navigate in the mountains is not so easy to do. It's one thing to look from above, and it's a completely different one to go down there, where you cannot see what's going on around you, and you do not understand where the winding trail leads. It feels like I climbed too high. There's still snow here. Oh! The rainbow showed somewhere over there, to the narrow valley. After the first unsuccessful attempts, I had to correct the route with knowledgeable people. And our old good friend, Deputy Director of the Orenburg Reserve, Andrei Latipov, who knows all about Shaytantau. Andrei has a special attitude to these places. Andre, I'm looking at the map and see just a little blot of various colors. And in life, it is such a pristine grandeur. So, Shaytantau, Andre, as far as I understand, is your love from first sight, right?
That's for sure. When I first visited this place, I was shocked by these open spaces.
Andre, why is it called Shaitan after all? What is this thing it has from the devil? Well, I understand some bizarre snags, some curved trees. Our ancestors were timid. They were just afraid of everything. Maybe the spirits here are kind of some bad thread.
Well, it's more like a fantasy of local people. In fact, there is no devilry here. It is an absolutely peaceful and kind territory.
Well, how? Peaceful, kind, and a character like a capricious beauty. The sun, clouds, lightning with thunder. It literally changes day after day.
This is the charm and interest of this territory. We certainly do not have any mystics. Weather conditions play a greater role here.
Well, the weather conditions won't break off branches and treetops, right?
Well, why? There is a very severe climate and winter here. Constant winds, very snowy winters, frequent thaws happen. All this leads to the fact that all trees, especially up to the mountains, they have completely broken tops.
Indeed, this is another feature of Shaytantau, an absolutely forest landscape, and you constantly see flora and fauna representatives of the steppe around. On the one hand, we met a legless lizard, an anguine lizard, a typical representative of deciduous forests. It is called an anguine, and it is a very delicate creature. It is enough to take it in your hand and accidentally drop it in order to cripple it. And the adder, which we saw on our way. Despite a bad reputation of Devil's Mountain, it was not a steppe one, but an ordinary one. But on the other hand, here you are, a typical example. This golden-haired handsome would be much more appropriate for the bare steppe, but not in the shady, wet underbrush. Friedrich August Marshall von Bieberstein. Greetings, colleague. In honor of this outstanding botanist, geographer, and traveler, named the tulip Bieberstein. And in Russia, he was called simply Fyodor Karlovich. For most of his life, Bieberstein worked and lived in Russia. But here, in the forests of Shaytantau, the tulip of Bieberstein looks quite different. There in the steppe, the petals unfold fully, and the flower spike is short. And here, the long flower spoon elegantly bends under the weight of a flower combined with a turtle. So, this tulip is revealed not completely, like most of the garden varieties. We walked along the wooded and bushy slopes. We compared our route with a map where a rainbow dot was marked, but noticed that we constantly got lost. Maybe this is another sorcerous feature of Shaytantau. For some reason, I really wanted to find this place, where the rainbow pointed out to us, because intuition prompted that there certainly would be surprises there. Shaytantau loves to play tricks with its guests, but sometimes it likes to give presents to attentive and polite people. But it's getting dark. I finally lost my way and decided to spend the night right here. I barely dodged to a spacious clearing and spread my sleeping bag right on the dewy grass already in the darkness. Could I have known that in the darkness I lay down exactly on the very spot where the left end of the multicolored beam of the rainbow fell? The very one which we had seen from the top of the distant mountain. Am I still asleep? Terrific! How did I not notice this at night when I went to bed? Look how many pasque flowers are here. It's dream grass. That's why I slept well. Beautiful! Ah, what a view around! Beautiful! In folk legends, the rock lily is endowed with yet another great power: to predict the future. They say it's enough to put it under a pillow, as a prophetic dream will immediately come to your mind. And if the wishes you wish are bright and kind, then they will certainly come true. We constantly came across curtains of pasque flowers, but we did not yet see such glades full of flowers. An amazing, grand spectacle, which you can enjoy only in the short spring period. So finally, we were on the patch, which was at the foot of the rainbow. This is what we had been looking for. We saw a rainbow from that hill yesterday, but I just realized that it was not standing still. It moved along a hilly ridge, as if it really showed us the way to a priceless treasure of generous nature. And here, that in comparison with it, well, any there paper notes, actions, yes, even gold coins. Here it is. Here it is. Our precious treasure, real treasure, which is enough for everyone.